Alright, time for another DraftPhysics.com, debatephysics.com. Also, but just debate is just so difficult to engineer. So anyway, this is another Dogma Day video, but it's going to be a little bit different. So we'll play
No
this just for
choice.
fun.
Nature can deal with kinetic energy one way or another, but it cannot finagle momentum. So it must give.
Okay. Sorry, so I already have this on the board, so let's just say that, Dave has responded with an email, and it's just kind of a pile of crap, obviously, but let's see if he could stick to his having some sort of integrity. So this is a really small little physics problem, right? And so you're just saying, okay, just answer the question. I mean, or ask your viewers, should you explain how this actually works? So we have a box in space, okay, just sitting in space. And inside we have a little explosion, a spring, doesn't matter. We have a 10 mass and a 5 mass. We're going to get, all right, a 5 velocity in one direction and a 10 velocity in the other direction, proportional to the masses. We're going to have equal momentum going in both directions, but we're going to have twice as much kinetic energy in the 5 mass. The lighter mass will magically have, extra energy. And it's sort of like the bullet and the gun recoil. So it's not really obeying Newton's third law at all, in the sense you got a huge amount of energy going one way and a small amount of energy going the other way. Doesn't seem to fit at all, okay? And its energy is real things, okay? It's real watts. So you could think of it as heat. You could think of it as little BBs. You could think of it as pieces of sand. You could think of it as a million different things, okay? But the simple point is they're saying more of it's going this way than is going that way. And then you put a piece of Velcro here on the ends, and you absorb the energy of the two objects. And what's the prediction? That the box continues through space at half, the combined velocity, right, with the box's velocity. We have to add the box. So we'll just say the box weighs 5 to simplify it. So is that what happens? Because we'll have a total of 20. So we'll end up with the box moving at 5 velocity through space. Or, as everybody knows what's going to happen, now the two things will hit at the same time. Yeah, they have to hit at the same time, so you just place them the right distances. And they'll both hit, and the box won't go anywhere. Because this is exactly the same energy as this, and it's just a fact. And they've never proven any of this stuff. So we could ask Dave, go ahead, analyze that, and also at the same time, let's remember that you say it takes 25 times the watts, okay, to spin a motor 5 times as fast. Okay. 25 times, not 5 times, 25 times the energy to spin a motor 5 times as fast. That's what your physics says. Now, either explain how your physics doesn't say that, which is impossible to do, frankly, or explain how that makes some kind of sense with the experimental evidence, which you don't have. You don't have any experimental evidence for any of this dogma. So that's all So he wants me to pay $5,000 for him to answer that question. I'm saying, well, let's say if I paid you $5,000 for 10 questions, that each question should only cost maybe $500. So can you make it a little bit more reasonable? All right, so I'm going to read his response and my email, and so this won't have the same kind of arguments in it. But he says he will counter my arguments, but he doesn't. He won't give me any specifics. So for $5,000, I can't buy a debate. All right, so all I can get is a video response where I guess he'll decide what he wants to answer. No, I'm not going to agree to that. I'm not that stupid. All right. Or, as he calls it, insane. All right, so this is what I wrote to him. All right. And then we'll go. Well, anyway, so I said, Dave, recently rediscovered your channel. Made a video response to a 2-slit years ago. So I'll make a new one just because I know so much more than I did 2 years ago. I mean, that whole 2-slit thing is so easily understood now. And figured it couldn't hurt to try again to solicit your attention to some physics subjects that I think need exposure. So that's all I'm doing, right? I'm just talking about these subjects, okay? MGH, work equals force times distance, and, the kinetic energy, 1/2 mv squared. And wave particle duality. Well, I mean, they're subjects. They're real subjects. And these guys don't think they need to be talked about at all. That none of these problems really exist. And that it's not a problem at all. The fact that you have experiments where you make free momentum, not a problem. You have experiments where you lose 99.94% of the kinetic energy disappears somewhere where you really can't account for it. And that's not a problem. I wonder if your viewers actually would say that's not a problem. For years, I have attempted to solicit the attention of a qualified physicist or science presenter on YouTube. I have offered substantial financial incentives to have my arguments fairly debunked, refuted. Unfortunately, I have found the integrity of the science to be as low as the integrity of the scientist. So where is he going to prove that to be inaccurate? All right. As you seem to enjoy testing and mocking dissident theories, I hope to persuade you that I merit attention. I don't like having to offer scientists money to defend their science. It really is ugly, isn't it? It really is ugly that you have to offer them money to pay attention to a physics argument. And 99.9% of the videos on my channel are physics arguments. All right. But I certainly haven't found any that'll do it for free. Right. So they'll talk like they will. I've had a few of them say, oh, I do it for free. And then as soon as they find out what the argument is, all of a sudden they're not going to do it at all. All right. Regardless, the fact that I'm willing to pay you for your time to counter and make fun of my argument certainly should speak to my sincerity and my entitlement to have my misunderstandings corrected. So I'm willing to do a lot more than what the other debunkers are, right? He has other people who have religious fans and all kinds of stuff, but I'm willing, I'm willing to even to say to my subscribers, how much, you want to contribute? So don't contribute to me, but just, maybe I'll have an email thing or something, or you pay $1 into PayPal and you make a pledge that that's how much money you'll give Dave, okay, for responding. And, we can do some double up thing, whatever the total amount that my subscribers are willing to pay, I'll put in that much. But, paying him $5,000 for nothing, we're not going to do that yet. Anyway, I'll accept debate in any form I can get it. Just play a 5-minute video of mine and make some kind of video response. So I'm making some arguments here detailing what kind of approach you can have here, but he really didn't pay any attention to that. Or a real live debate. If interested, let me know what kind of compensation you believe is fair. So this is he gave me his fair number, and it's not really fair. All right, as a heads up, I intend to make a few videos regarding a few of your videos, and the first one is posted here. So that's a link to, I posted a link to the first video. So his response is, I'll gladly debunk this flaming pile of hot garbage from an insane person for $5,000. So that's the best he could do. I mean, that's showing he's the defender of the faith, and this is the best he could do, right? All right, so obviously that's a little vague, okay? So, that's not going to do me any good. Doesn't promise anything on the subject. I want you to debate the physics arguments, not how ugly you are, none of that. No, I want you to debate physics. Okay, so I responded with, thanks for the response. Just so there's no misunderstanding, I would like to clarify what I get for the $5,000. Okay, is this a live debate or just a video response? How long a video can I make that you will respond to? So, how much can I go on for half an hour and do a lot of subjects, or am I limited to just a tiny amount? For $5,000, how much time do I get to make my arguments to your audience? All right, and then you counter them with your brilliant whatever. Yeah, whatever. I don't know what it's going to be. It won't be reasoning. Anyway, although your fee seems inflated beyond reason, the fact is I have offered a few of your colleagues almost that much. So, I did offer Veritasium 4,000. I did offer Thunderfoot 4,000. So, it's just a fact I did do that. Please let me know what I will get for the money. and I'll start working on raising it. So he responded. It continues. Okay. So again, what's the point of this? Playing this game. Now, if you think I'm a lunatic, well, why did you respond at all? It doesn't really make much sense. And then you're insulting lunatics for some stupid reason. What sense does that make either? And you're a doctor of something? Anyway, you think you know something about psychology and that's the kind of crap you do? All right. So anyway, I'll make a thorough video, so explaining in great detail how everything you said in that video is objectively wrong and profoundly idiotic. Well, that video was a video about how dishonest and corrupt science is, and it really isn't the subject, frankly. I want to argue physics. I don't want to argue how corrupt physics is or how stupid you are as a moronic capitalist or any of that crap. I want to argue your crappy and shitty physics. Okay. Or another one of similar length. so good. So right there we have it. All right. So or another one of similar length. So that's an hour video. So you'll take on an hour-long video for $5,000, and you'll play the whole hour. You won't just quote mine it or something. All right. The fee is large because you are totally insane and not worth anyone's time or attention. Right. So it's insane to bring up the paradoxes that exist in physics, and that's all I've done. And that's insane, right? It was insane what I did at Wikipedia, where I just put a paragraph of their text up and said, well, this is unevidenced, and that's just hearsay. That's just a statement. So, can't your physics do a little better than that? Can't you cite the piece of evidence that demonstrated any of that to be true? Amazing bullshit. So that's where we are right now. I haven't composed my response. So I don't get a debate for 5,000. But he says, or another one of similar length. So right there, okay, I'll take that. I mean, an hour. Now, can we cut it down to 10 minutes for $1,000? I mean, can I negotiate a little bit better of a deal? 5,000 is a lot for what I don't know what you're going to do with the video, frankly. And also, I sort of want to guarantee that you don't do something like, some of his videos only get 10,000 views, so I don't want it named something stupid. I want it named what it is, a debate. All right, I want it named appropriate to what the content will be, just so his viewers know it's not one of his boring and lame videos on how flatworms sing and dance. But anyway, all right. So that is interesting. So at least it's progress of some kind. And one way or the other, one of these pieces of crap, sooner or later, is going to have to come to the table with a counter argument, right? Because, frankly, their reputation is on the line, right? Are they that certain? Are they that certain their physics hasn't made any mistakes? That no one could ever discover a mistake their physics has made? It's impossible. And especially in this case where the mistake is so obvious. 100 times the watts of energy to spin a motor 10 times faster. 100 times the wattage. It's a ridiculous. It's something for you to say, oh yeah, I've seen that all the time. I see that happen all the time. It's incredibly difficult to speed something up. Really hard. Nobody can throw a bowling ball twice as fast, right? A half as massive bowling ball, you can't throw that twice as fast. You can only throw that 0.4 as fast, right? I see that all the time. No, you don't see that all the time. All right, so the second half of this video, I guess I'll erase this, which I really hate to do, but anyway. And I figure I ought to, at least, Ian Gosling did go to the trouble to spin things and do this crap, and so I should at least explain why I have problems with this video he's trying to make, this experiment. And the fact is, it might not be doable. We need a better strategy. So I'll just explain why I have my doubts. All right, so we're back at the spinning wheel and how to in some qualitative, quantitative, perfectly good way, how do you take the energy out of a spinning wheel? All right, now first I'll just say about the extra weights, that's just a problem because we already saw pretty decisively that if you have an imbalanced masses on the wheel, it will rotate. Its ending rotation can be very different depending on whether it ends with the weight here or if it ends with the weight in some other position. It'll rotate a much different length of time. So it's not ideal to have uneven masses on the wheel. It's better just to have a consistent mass throughout the wheel. But anyway, regardless of that. All right, so as I pointed out, there's these different ways, like if you could, push something up in gravity, you could knock it and hit it and knock it up. Knock it up, that sounds a little... there's a problem with the idea of the velocity you're going to give it. Okay, obviously when the wheel's spinning a lot, it's going to give it a high velocity, and when it's spinning slowly, it's going to give it a very low velocity. Now the real catch is it's going to, when it does that, it's going to do that even disproportionately, in the sense that we're back to the lifting something slowly versus lifting something quickly. So lifting quickly, even though the thing will fly further, the fact is you'll lose less energy this way, throwing it, than when its wheel's going slowly and it pushes the ball and it takes a very long time just to move a little distance. So it'll take the same time to go this small distance as it took to fling this, the faster velocity. And technically this is going to be more energy. So lifting slowly is more energy. So that doesn't work because you can't figure out which effect is affecting it. And so it's just like the same idea as if I push something, where this comes down, pushes it, and it gives it a velocity. So at least I gotten rid of the friction, the obvious friction. But now I still have the linear friction that it has to be accepted, that you can't just measure the distance because the distance isn't a definition of how much energy it has. And so we have to have that argument. But clearly the faster it's moving, the more energy it's going to give the little thing, and the slower it's moving, a lot less energy it's going to give it. Okay, a lot less velocity. So that doesn't work. It's not going to be even. All right, and then the problem is this idea of bending something. All right, which I thought, I did say when I made the video, just to be fair, I said I don't think it's a problem, but I said I'm not sure. I did say those words because I'm not sure. So the problem with this bending thing, I thought of the Bowflex, right, the exercise tool, and the fact is that it's more energy if you move those things slower. Okay, so if I pull on them slowly, the rubber band, so to speak, the fact is I do more work than if I go quickly. So we're back to the same problem, that when it's going quick, it's going to be doing less work than when it has to bend it slowly, and it's doing, the pressure is on this thing more time. So you do know that there will be a different amount of time D and time C or whatever. These two times that this thing is taking to bend it is going to be different, and so it's unlikely that it's going to be pulling exactly the same amount of energy if it's bending it slowly versus bending it quickly. So that's a problem, and I don't know how to fix that problem, frankly. Shit. So, yeah, I haven't seen anybody else say much on the subject. So the question is how do you find some way to extract energy in equally sized pieces, so you can just count the pieces of energy you're pulled off? And we're still stuck trying to engineer that kind of a mechanism, and I think it's a real stuck. Now he's still contending that first thing he had, where he had a little straw, okay, and it got hit by a plunger and it barely hit it, that somehow he only had two choices: 40 rotations or 0 rotations. that somehow, no matter what, he couldn't fine-tune that to be 20 rotations or 10 rotations or 5 rotations. So, part of me just says there's obviously an insincerity here, because you could just move this a tiny millimeter at a time, and you should be able to change it from 40 to 30 to 20 to 10 to 5. And really the whole point is to get to a low enough number where you don't use the bearing anymore, isn't controlling. So we needed to go a lot less rotations, because the more rotations means the bearing's controlling, and we know the bearing has the inverse square law, 4 times the distance for only twice the energy problem, okay, the friction problem. It's doing the 3-1 thing, and it's cheating the fact that it's only twice the time. So again, if I'm right, okay, that work equals force times time, then obviously any time you're pushing against something and you do it slower, it's more work. So you can go to a spring, which is the interesting case, right? Because the only way you can make springs equal is you have to change the mass. So if I make this a 1/2 mass, I have a 1 mass, and I plow them into a spring, you can understand that I can have this going twice the velocity and this going 1 velocity, because the fact is they're going to compress the spring at the same rate, because the lower mass is going to end up, even though it's going twice as fast, it has less momentum, less mass behind it, so it can't push the spring as fast as it's going. And so it's going to end up compressing the spring at the same speed that the 1 mass going 1 velocity is going to compress the spring. So they're both going to equally, at the same speed, compress the spring. So you have to convert the mass if you're going to increase the velocity. So if I take the same mass and increase the velocity, I'm not going to get that result, because obviously it's going to compress twice as much, and so the speed isn't going to be the same. So the amount of force is going to not be time dependent. And obviously twice the time, twice the force, right? Same amount of time, same force. So I'm just saying, if I'm right about this, then yeah, you can't do it. You can't do it with the same mass into the same spring at different velocities, because the time, the force, the amount of force is going to be dictated by the amount of time it takes you to compress the spring. That's the work. All right. That's probably enough for this video. So just an update type video. I don't think there hasn't really been anything in the comments. Speaking of lunatics, these people get butt hurt, and then they just, they have to attack by trolling and trying to damage the website. I mean, they can't just accept that there's no point in having an argument about how ugly or how stupid or all this stuff, right? That this nonsense commentary is just absolutely useless. I'm not going to waste my time, especially to people who don't have any videos for me to type ragged crap on. Okay, so until they make videos that I can type shit all over, what would be the point? And I really don't want to play that anyway, okay? I mean, homie, don't play that. I'm really not interested in exchanging insults. But just the idea that they have to do that, right? So, I mean, the message board on the website hasn't been of any use, because somebody is going to the trouble to use a VPN to type, 50 comments a day just talking shit. And it just shows these are the defenders of science. This is what they have to resort to. So I even saw that in the Super Dave. Super Dave's one of his videos. He's resorting to, well, here, I'll show you, since I brought it up. Yeah, I think you can see it well enough here. I mean, he has 2 characters, and he's taking their faces and, Photoshop them into little clowns, with little red noses, and, it's just so tacky. I mean, if you're on the side of right, you really shouldn't have to resort to this kind of crap, okay, to win your arguments, You really shouldn't. I mean, mockery is, that's the argument of first resort for the person who, generally speaking, is going to lose the argument, not win it. It's just a cheap, silly, stupid, small-minded tactic. But anyway, you can see clearly his videos get such a strange range of views. That was a mistake. Big mistake there, whatever the hell that crap was. So anyway, he does have a lot of commercials. I guess it's just on selective videos. But you can see, I mean, this one, 6.3, 4.7 thousand views. So, I mean, yeah, obviously I'm not going to pay $5,000 for a video gets 4,000 views. That would be really, really bad. So the video does have to be described in such a manner and have such an icon, that it's going to get some of these better view numbers. I mean, frankly, the last few videos he's made, really, all these suck. And the only ones he's getting any view numbers on are these ones where he's fighting some creationist, I guess. So there's some own colleague outed somebody or something. So yeah, 3.8 for a nice little monkey video. And there's only 3.8 thousand views. It's really pretty bad. Yeah. So yeah, obviously paying $5,000 for that, I'm not going to do. So anyway, we do have to negotiate a better deal. But anyway. So we'll see where it goes. I mean, they're on the record. That's all I want out of this, I guess, is that in the end, these people will be exposed for the cheaters and liars and bums they are. Because, frankly, these are valid arguments, and they just keep running from having to participate and explain how their physics isn't completely inconsistent babble. It's nonsense. It's as bad a theory as the God theory, or at least the Jesus part. It's really poorly evidenced, and people shouldn't believe it without seeing evidence. And the evidence isn't difficult, right? Proving that 4 pounds dropped 1 foot is the same as 1 pound dropped 4 feet, that doesn't seem really tough. Proving that it takes 25 times the energy to spin a motor 5 times as fast, that doesn't sound like that's all that tough to do, right? So, proving that the box, will move because of the extra kinetic energy going in a direction in violation of Newton's third law, that doesn't sound like a hard experiment to do. So let's see it. All right. So, yeah, that's probably enough of a video. All right, so I'll finish. I really do want to finish that debunking video, but I want to see what the punchline is in terms of what this other guy's agenda is. And because it doesn't seem... I mean, like I said, there's so much in the video that are valid critiques of the scientific method and how science is done. And instead of Dave hysterically reacting because the guy has some agenda, flat earth or Christian or whatever the fuck it is, he should pay more attention to the fact that, yeah, some of your science is weak, and you all should have an interest in making it look strong, not running away from the argument that it has weaknesses. All right. Probably enough of a video then. Yeah. So I'll get back to the regular schedule. I got Wikipedia to still do, and definitely want to do some more slit experiment videos. So till the next time and such.